Welcome to episode 5 of the Everyone Hurts podcast with my guest Kyle Clark. This is so distracting, and I forgot the name of my own podcast. Also, oh my god! But I did. I did melt my acrylic nail this morning trying to light a candle, so got my day started right. I burnt myself with hot wax. That was really cool. I try to be one of those like Pinterest girls who, you know, has nice nails and lights candles, and it doesn't work for me. But Kyle was a really fun guest today. He knows a lot of stuff, and we talk about a lot of stuff I know nothing about. So it was really fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. I have been forgetting to do, because I'm not perfect, and there's only been 5 episodes, so I've been forgetting to do the intro stuff, which is to tell you to please subscribe and like and share and review. However, I did just notice that one of you fuckers gave it a 4-star review. Like, just don't fucking do that. In the first 5 episodes, you're going to give me a fucking 4-star review.
1 star for every episode.
Why do you hate me? Why do they hate me? I don't know. But, you know, don't do that. It's like, if it like, wait till it becomes a 5-star podcast to review it then. If it's not a 5-star podcast for you yet, just like wait, you know, let me find my rhythm. I don't want to hear your negativity. I don't want your 4-star negativity. So unless you're going to give 5 stars, don't fucking review. But just like subscribe and like and do that kind of stuff. But please leave a review. Everything helps. Watch the YouTube channel, do all that stuff. Help me out. Also, at this point, this podcast is being released on the 9th. So I will plug on on February 12th, I am judging a something that I think is going to be really fun. It's a roast at a gay bar called Precinct. I think the headlining battle is 2 people from Drag Race. So that should be a really fucking fun time. And so if you're in LA, please head out to Precinct on February 12th. And yeah, enjoy this episode with Kyle Clark.
Everything hurts. Everything hurts. Fucking life sucks. Everything hurts.
All right, we're here with Kyle Clark,
Hey.
who I feel like I haven't seen in a million years.
It's, I saw you at Fifi Dash's. We played Settlers at Catan during the period we were allowed to go places.
That's true. Wait, was that before your 4th of July party?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. Okay. Oh, so I saw you 4th of July?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very briefly, because that was kind of right when, you know, everyone was like, we're free, you know,
Yeah.
but I was not prepared to be around a group of people. I got there and I was like, I've never been more anxious in my life.
See, and I have very little memory of 4th of July because I had a family member on the East Coast die. And like my folks ran back, and so like I got the party finished planning, went through it, and then like cleaned, and then like a day later when I was on a plane to the East Coast. So it was one of those things where all of a sudden it went from like, oh man, all hands on station to like, oh, I got to make sure this thing happens, and I can't cancel it because it's like people needed that party. For those listening, like 4th of July, I do a big kind of comedy 4th of July party where people are just kind of openly allowed to come, and we remember.
It's so fun.
It's the one time comedians remember that we're coworkers who get along and like each other. And
and you always invite the best people.
Well, I try.
I usually hate parties because you show up and there's, you know, there might be a ton of people you like, but usually there's also a ton of people you want nothing to do with. Yeah. Whereas like there's always a really good, and I hate this word, but a really good vibe.
I am very vibe focused.
Yeah.
So I feel no shame in that.
And I got very excited when I heard that party was going to happen, because during COVID, I was very upset that I wasn't going to get to do that.
You know, the 2021 got canceled, and literally the week of 4th of July, just kind of perpetually getting messages of people like, sure wish we were at that thing instead of the world that we have now.
Yeah. And I showed up and I was so excited, and the minute I got there, I was like, I can't be here for more than 10 minutes.
I was surprised more people didn't have that. I genuinely thought that more people would be a little more, and I think instead people, I think, and maybe you missed this if you got there later, we unintentionally did a smart thing at this one is I am friends with the band Sad Park, and it was this fascinating thing to watch because they got signed to a record label during COVID and like had all this crazy stuff going. And right around then they were like, hey, we're about to do like a little mini tour. We have not played in front of people for a year. Could we like play your 4th of July party? And they did a little setup time. And it gave everybody kind of a chance to settle in.
Right.
Which I thought unintentionally worked out really well because you could kind of see everyone like, they're good bands. They're like, oh, this band's fun and I haven't seen live music. And then on top of that, like, and I didn't have to talk to anybody until like my pulse went down.
Right. I do remember a band playing and they were really good.
Yeah.
They're really good. Yeah. But yeah, I was still really social. I'm still really socially anxious. Like I got, you know, I'm scared. I'm intimidated by the fact that you're here right now.
And I'm the opposite.
And you're one of my
like,
favorite people in the world.
I have been dying inside for 2 years. I am a profound extrovert. And like my joke was, you know, I never got out of my folks' house because I was never there. It was either work or the road or whatever.
Yeah.
And being home sucks. I hate being home. I hate being home just in general.
I
like
fucking love it.
All I want to do
thing.
is just constantly be around funny people and never leave the outside world for like the rest of my life. Like I am so done with chilling.
I have this weird thing where I, on one hand, am so afraid to be alone with my thoughts, but on the other hand, do not want to be around people.
I just have that first part, and then the second one's like, hey, people, you want to help me be not alone with my thoughts?
Yeah, so I generally just find, like, one person that I like hanging out with, and then stick to them for, like, a while.
I got to, like, hang out with somebody in a parking lot at night recently, which is really one of my favorite activities in the world, and that felt really exciting, because I was like, oh, shit. Like, it's almost...
One of your favorite activities is hanging out in a parking lot.
How much of comedy is
you should
sitting
become
in a
a
parking
drug
lot?
dealer.
Like, comedy is 90% smoking cigarettes in parking lots.
That's true. I mean, I don't smoke cigarettes. I feel like I tried picking up this.
You did. It was really.
I tried picking up cigarettes for a month because it's like when you're in a group of people and everyone pulls out their phones and you're like, well, now I need to pull out my phone.
Yeah.
And so when everyone was pulling out their cigarettes, I felt like I had nothing to do with my hands. And so
we should have gotten you a pipe.
It just felt like a thing that I should be doing in a group of, because all my friends smoked.
Well, intellectually, I'm glad that it didn't take.
It was so embarrassing because
I mean, you should.
I was out in front of the Improv and I did not know how to even like use a lighter properly.
You had the drunk at a party who wants a cigarette vibe. Just like, I don't know how the system operates.
I was trying to light it and people were like trying to help me and the wind kept blowing it out.
You're around professionals too, so people were just like,
they're like, you look like a little old lady, just like bent over, just I can't do it. And it was so fucking embarrassing. And then people realized when I started doing it, people were like, are you even inhaling? And I was like, no. Like, fucking poser.
Doing the high school dance.
I'm such a poser. Oh man. And then when I was on tour with our friends Keith Carey and Tom Goss, they fucking chain smoke and we just had to stop every 2 seconds in the van and just to get out and smoke. And so just for when they did that, I went in a gas station and bought, and I still buy them if I see one, just because, just this specific flavor. If I see a fucking banana vape, it tastes like the banana runts, you know?
And that is somehow a positive.
Oh, yeah, it's like you're fucking smoking candy.
Huh.
Which everyone should do, kids. Smoke that candy.
I mean, that would be pretty good. Do you see yourself rolling it up or putting it in sort of like a marijuana pipe situation for smoking candy?
Well, this was in a vape, but
okay.
But it was.
See, I was thinking of going for like, you know.
Oh, you mean like
I want candy flour.
Yeah. Like crush it up, roll it.
Yeah,
smoke
and then
it.
like, okay, so I was thinking too, you could like sprinkle it on something. Like if you have like tore up gummies in there, and then you sprinkle some runts on it.
Right.
Like
do people do that with cocaine? Like, do they sprinkle it on stuff?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Cocoa Puffs.
Lacey.
Yeah. Regional differences in what our friends called it.
Friends or dad, whatever.
That's why you're a real funny comedian.
Those are called Cocoa Puffs?
That's what my friends called it.
Well, what do they sprinkle it on? They sprinkle it on cereal? They okay. No, do they sprinkle it on food?
I had a friend who put it in coffee once. It seemed like kind of overkill, but like you wonder.
Yeah, that's kind of putting a hat on a hat there.
Your confusion is exactly why they called it, because they were trying to confuse the cops over the phone.
Right.
Like, hey, get some Cocoa Puffs. They're like, these guys are eating cereal?
You got all the snacks, none of the drugs.
Yeah, that's what we do. We eat Cocoa Puffs in the parking lot late at night. But you got to hang out in a parking lot. I do miss doing that. I did used to do
Just
that.
more like I say parking lot, but more just like I miss just bullshitting with people.
You know
like
what
when you said to come do this, I was like, wait, to sit and talk to funny people who I haven't seen? Oh God, yes. Who do I have to kill?
You know what it is? It's when you're talking in a parking lot for 3 hours, it's because you just did a thing.
Yes.
And then you're so caught up in talking to people
100%.
that you are in a parking lot for 3 hours. That's how you know you're having a fucking good conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
The shittier place you are willing to have that conversation, the better the conversation is.
Absolutely.
You know? But yeah, I'm glad you're here. I'm also I'm intimidated by people, but I'm intimidated by talking to you specifically.
Oh no.
Because you know so much about stuff. Like I never feel dumber.
Up to and including a great deal of details about you.
Yeah. Well, about everything. I feel like movies, music, like you could talk about anything for hours at a time.
Gotta fill that hole.
Which, I mean, I'm so dumb that the only hole I'm filling is,
Oh, this is a sex thing.
the 2 holes that matter. 3. Right. I mean, no, my mouth hole doesn't matter because nothing important comes out of it. Only important
Doing
things
whole math over here.
Yeah, I'm just living my life as a big dumb slut. And
I mean, basically me too.
you are kind of a big dumb slut, but who knows stuff about stuff.
Yeah.
We're also both in happy relationships right now, which
True.
is fucking insane.
It's pretty
because
wild.
when we met each other,
We
like
were
the whole
messy, I believe would be the word.
The whole basis of our friendship is like, why the fuck do we ruin everything that we do?
Yeah.
And
it's been nice that we both went on an upswing. Much darker if after that one weekend, like one of us really takes off and the other one really collapses.
Yeah. We balanced each other out.
Yeah, we did. We took turns collapsing in between.
The best codependent friendships do that.
You know, I want it no other way because I understand the boundaries of no other way.
Yeah. Well, because the way we became friends was we were doing a road gig somewhere awful. I don't know.
It was that Fresno run.
Yeah.
We met in the car, which is my favorite way to meet someone I'm going to spend 3 days with.
Yeah. Well, and you and Keith spent hours talking about music, which again I don't know nothing about.
Not just music. You were in a bad situation.
Yeah.
Because Keith had just gone to the Misfits reunion. And this was days after.
Yeah.
And I hadn't gone, so I needed a moment-by-moment breakdown. And that, we tried to be good, so we limited it to 3 hours of the 4-hour drive.
Yeah. So many of my friends are into the Misfits and that kind of music that I'm like, I want to be into this.
I wouldn't recommend it.
I've never tried
coming
it.
from a guy in a Husker Du shirt, so I know a thing or two about mistakes in life.
I should try. Although I'm past I talked about this last episode. I am past the point in my life where I used to basically, if my guy friends or any guy I had a crush on or my dad or anyone was super into something, I would try and get super into that thing so they would think I was cool because I needed male validation. But yeah, I'm past that point where I need to pretend to like things anymore.
Beautiful and empowering, isn't it?
So I just took a nap in the back seat while you guys shot
True.
the shit. But then, so I don't know what happened or why this happened. I don't know if you were sick or whatever.
Well, remember, that was the run where I got crazy violently ill the moment we got to the venue.
Right. This was the most punk rock thing
Oh, yes.
that I have ever seen.
I do appreciate that. I have some small amount of pride for you know.
Yeah. Kyle just
I
vomited
in an alley.
And then immediately went up on stage.
It was get up, puke in alley, and like
the only thing better would have been if you had puked on
I almost
stage.
did. I did 20, and had I done 21, I would have sprayed the audience with vomit because it was at what's it called, Barmageddon.
Yes.
And they have the heating duct right above where the stage is. And so I'm tall enough that like I'm very aware that duct is there, and the heat started to go on. And I have held my shit together for 19 minutes. And they got that big thing, so I'm like, okay, big finish here. And that heat starts, and that little wave hits me, and I'm not holding it together well already. So it was literally shook a hand, went upstairs, continued vomiting.
Also, the worst place to feel sick in, because I don't know if anyone has ever been to Tulare, but it smells like a cow ate a cow and then shit out that cow and then ate that shit and shit out another shit from that shit.
That's actually how Kobe beef is made.
It just smells like the worst
Last
shit.
time I did Barmageddon, there was they have these tools that like choke slam, like you know how the Undertaker would grab your neck, and they shake the almond trees. And because of the drought, they couldn't spray the almond trees, so the entire town was just a dust bowl.
Yes.
And people were just walking around like it was. I couldn't breathe. I was trying to do my set. I was having like an asthma attack. That place is a hellhole.
It's a wild place. I fucking love it.
Me too.
It is. And it's funny
Well,
because
a great place to do comedy because it's such a shitty place to live that they're just so appreciated.
To me, those are always the most fun places where people are just like, if nobody's coming there, I want to go there because like now we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, and they're just so used to life being shit. They're just so used to it. Like they're used to the smell.
I'm sure they have some nice moments.
No.
Up there. There's some respite from the endless
Stop trying to
struggle.
pander to the Fresno audience.
They're all I have.
They know they suck. No, they're great. The people are great. I mean,
if I
like
lose the Central Valley, specific parts of Orange County, my career takes a dive real fast.
they're probably the ones sending emails about like and it's already happening. I'm already getting messages and
Who you disparaging?
No, this is why I'm trying to keep this, even though the original premise of this podcast, and it's still this, is it's a comedy podcast about the worst parts of being alive. I'm trying to keep it a little more light, being a little more joke, because I'm realizing the people who listen to the stuff I do are just severely depressed.
Yeah.
And I'm already getting messages like, because I abandoned my last podcast without warning, and I'm getting messages like, please don't do that again. And then ones that are like, oh, thank God you have a podcast again, and I'm so sad, and I want to fucking kill myself, and anyway, you make that better. But it's just it's sad, and I hope that those people get help, and I bet a lot of them are living in Fresno. Because
it's the podcast premise is such a dangerous game. Oh no!
That was a complete.
Am I not allowed to say podcast? Is this you can't do that on television?
Honestly, so this. I asked.
That was a complete mistake.
Okay.
I asked Brian to, and I'm sure he's already missed a lot.
Yes.
But I asked Brian to because I've been listening back to my podcast, which I didn't used to do with my old podcast because I can't stand
Don't recommend that at all.
the sound of my own voice. But it's a new one. I want it to go well. I want to listen back and see what's working, what's not. And I started realizing how much I say like to the point where it's fucking irritating, and like people are gonna stop listening if I keep doing this because I'm sorry, I'm from Orange County. Yeah. I'm a dumb slut.
It's
like
SoCal, man.
I say it's the thing, but I want to stop. I've been actively trying to, even in regular conversation, not say it. So I did ask Brian to play some kind of buzzer. Every time I say it. Yeah.
So I was probably playing like slap bass in my head.
I just imagine you nodding too. It's just a picture of not even your full body, just your hands hitting it and just nodding. Yeah, I'm slapping it.
I do wish that someone would play a buzzer every time someone in LA said podcast, though.
There'd just be a perpetual alarm going.
Yeah.
I've been talking to people recently about podcast stuff. I was talking to Burnside, and right before COVID, we did our 300th episode of This Is Rad and launched our Patreon. Yeah. And it's been 2 years, and I said to Burnside on an episode last night, I was like, I wonder how close we are to 400, because we've not been keeping track, and it's been a long enough time that like the idea we might have done 100 episodes of show via Zoom, you know, after 6 or 7 years of doing it otherwise.
Well, and that many episodes of like fucking 4-hour long podcasts.
Well, by the way, we only started doing that maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe the first 2-3 years we tried to keep it to relatively reasonable lengths, and then when I took producing full time, I was just like, oh no, we're going Paul Thomas Anderson with this exclusively.
Yeah, and Kyle, like he has a podcast called This Is Rad. It's great. People go on there and talk about the stuff that they think is fucking cool and talk about it for a very long time. Do you think that's why you know so much stuff about stuff?
It's why I started the show, for sure. Was I didn't want to go with a single premise because I was like, I will immediately get bored and hate this. So instead it became a thing like, okay, well, I can kind of bullshit about anything. So, like, if somebody shows up, like, I can probably fake it enough, and then they're going to tell me enough that I can then ask questions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it used to be more built around, like, trying to be more actively educational of, like, what is it, and how could you get into it if you wanted to? And now it's a little bit more, like, a jumping off point for, like, I'm always surprised which ones stay on track and which ones crazy fly off the handle.
Oh, mine always fly. Every time I've been on, it's flown off the handle.
Although actually, 2 of yours are ones that people have. I've learned recently music ones do really well. So you've unintentionally been in 2 of those. That the Eminem one and the Green Day ones.
Also, I'm delightful.
It's true.
Well, the Eminem one, Fifi Dosh called me about it to run afterwards to run all her theories about Eminem.
Fifi Dosh loves a theory, and that's why I love her.
All her theories about Eminem being trans, and this was before. This was before Fifi Dosh transitioned, so I think she just wanted to talk about being trans.
Which way? Like F to M?
No.
For Eminem.
For Eminem, no. She thinks that
F to Eminem.
he wants that he feels like he's a woman.
It's right there.
Yeah.
Like she thinks he's a woman inside.
Okay.
Like on the inside, like M to F.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but hasn't transitioned.
Oh, gotcha.
Converting over to an F and F.
Because there's a lot of theories.
I don't care.
There's a lot of theories that Eminem.
Like I keep having to confirm with you. Like I know what I did was wrong.
I'm hearing you loud and clear. Right? That's a 10-4.
And then good dad jokes go. I can't justify my actions, but I can acknowledge the mistake.
Keep them coming. I love them.
There's a lot of theories Eminem is gay.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never heard a trans theory.
Okay.
I like the idea that Eminem is gay.
I like the idea that every theory everyone has on Eminem is true at the same time.
What are the other ones?
It doesn't matter. Whatever they are, I want them put on there.
I feel like we're using the word theory wrong. Is it a theory that you think someone's gay? Is that a theory?
You can test it.
Yeah, we've
okay.
It is. There's a hypothesis to it potentially.
Okay.
We've run the scientific theory on it multiple times.
I myself operate on the level that kind of confuses and muddles the data.
Yeah.
I like the idea that people are just like sending men to Eminem's house.
Yeah.
They're asking him what he thinks about fucking
sometimes
Cher.
we're just sent as like a trap, or we're just like, hey, my car broke down and I need to wash my shirt. Can I come inside? Hope you don't mind me shirtless and trapped here for a while.
Is that your
my move?
your move? Yeah.
That's how I met your mother.
My car broke down and I just got to get this sweaty shirt off my back.
Right?
No, I mean I do like it when a guy is like a little bit of a sweaty shirt and it's clinging to his nipples. It's a nice.
Not a great feeling.
Clinging to his nipples.
Better hope it's
you
a
know
real
that
soft
cling.
shirt.
You know that cling. You know the cling.
Oh yeah, good.
You know the cling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that.
Yeah.
It's weird because it's the round of it, so that it sort of suction cups on a little bit.
Yeah. Some people have
like a natural pasty.
Some men have like very prominent nipples where it doesn't matter like what shirt they wear.
Yeah,
They're always gonna be there.
most definitely.
I enjoy it. I
That's
like it.
You see the guys with them taped down when they've got the running shirts on.
Marathon nipples?
Yeah.
I didn't know that men tape their nipples.
I went to a thing regularly. I'll leave it at that. Let's
Do
say
they
a
do it-
meeting of people for reasons.
Do they?
Sure.
And someone came from jogging to this meeting, which
So
maybe
you were in the Klan?
Damn. Vagary's gotten a lot more dangerous over the years. But one guy would consistently have like tape nipples and an athletic shirt because I think this was part of like his athletic run, and I just remember perpetually being not confused but more lost in the midst of the contents of this meeting, and instead being like, that guy's got tape on his nipples.
Yeah.
I need to pay attention to some of the better healing things that can happen here, but
Do they do it like in an X, like burlesque dancers?
Good.
I think
Like the black X's? You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
yeah.
With
Yeah.
the nun habit hat
I want to say his was just like a single, but that does feel like it would be the cooler way to do it.
Yeah.
Like you're an X-Men whose power is boobs.
I wish I had the power of boobs.
Huey Lewis's best song.
Power of boobs.
Activate power of boobs.
Well,
That'd be fucking
my girlfriend and I were talking about like 2000s era comedies recently because we're kind of obsessed with like it's just far away now enough that it's funny to see. We like especially like late 90s, early 2000s. We love playing the game of like pre and post 9/11.
Right.
Like, where were we all at? And one of them was I showed her the trailer for Dude, Where's My Car? Which the trailer is, you know, gives you some of it, but like does not really reveal what a bug nuts crazy movie that is. But I always forget that their big reward from the aliens is that their girlfriend's boobs grow bigger. Which like is awful, but also like really funny.
Yeah, super funny.
By the way, have you seen like those articles that like women were reporting that the Pfizer vaccine made their boobs grow bigger?
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw. And look, if there's any reason to get
over here was bummed.
if there's any reason to get vaccinated, it's that. I was like, give me fucking 50
I thought I
cc's
felt
of
a
that
little
fucking
confident.
vaccine.
I
I mean,
that second one in me, and I was like, ooh.
I think my boobs have gotten bigger, but I've also gained weight. So I think I just got fat. Maybe the Pfizer vaccine just makes you fat. And they're like, my boobs got bigger.
CDC knows how to go like, huh? Something. It's not nothing.
No. But yeah, that's an interesting side effect if that's true. You know, of course the fucking company that makes Viagra would find a way to have a vaccine that makes your
It's
boobs
just
bigger.
the horniest pharma.
It is.
Their labs are
Pfizer's the
insane.
horniest
yeah.
vaccine for sure.
They run a satellite lab out of the Playboy Mansion.
100%. Yeah.
Did you get the Pfizer?
I did. Pfizer
Yeah.
fam.
It's because you're a horny guy.
That was that was a whole adventure too. Like chasing those down. Like now every time I see a place where you can just get them, like, man, I had to go to a shady CVS in Ventura.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had to go like to a fucking Home Depot. No, not
I think
Home
it was
Depot.
Easter
Like Home
Sunday was my second one, so I was like, later, guys.
They use a power drill to put it in you.
Yeah. No, I just got it from one of the guys who are outside that say need work. You know,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
just
yeah.
they shot
They've
me
switched
up.
over to a new business and they're
Yeah.
doing COVID shots.
They're giving out
Government subsidization.
low key vaccines.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were one of the few people who I feel like got like better over COVID. Like you had like a glow up.
I try not to talk about it.
You have
It's
because people are like, fuck you.
Yeah,
No, we're gonna talk
Nobody's
about it.
thrilled to see me.
You fucking did a
I
glow
lost
up.
30-something pounds during COVID, and I had to buy a new wardrobe, which sucked because you can't go to stores, so I just got to wear like hobo clothes for a while.
Yeah.
I had turned some belts into rope belts.
Yeah. Just like Gallagher.
Oh, truly.
Yeah.
It was
You
just-
turned belts into rope belts?
Yeah, just you got to tie them off because it's just not even enough. You got to cinch them
Oh.
out. It didn't make sense. I was hoping we'd pass it.
I mean, I think during COVID, a lot of people turned belts into rope belts, but for their
For the
neck.
other direction, yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. But it was sort of a sanity thing,
Yeah.
and then also a depression thing. And so sometimes, like, both just collapse into you just sort of accidentally do a good thing.
Sure.
Because, like, too depressed to eat because the world is ending. But
Yeah.
also, like, gotta stay active somehow. And so, yeah, so it was doing a lot. I've actually fallen off recently, and I'm kind of bummed, like, oh, I should get back to that thing. Because my big worry is, like, I'm going to see people, and I'm going to have lost it all. And so then it became a game of, like, doing skincare and doing other stuff. Just, again, to pass the fucking days.
All men should do skincare.
It's
They
great.
fucking
Highly
don't. Brian,
recommend
do
it.
you do skincare?
I live with my girlfriend. Yes.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a face that understands moisturizer.
Yes. I got. Did you?
I'm 72 years old.
Yeah.
Did you do it before you lived with your girlfriend though?
no.
Yeah. See, I got my boyfriend into skincare also. You
Yeah.
gotta But even if you're single, guys, you gotta fucking get into skincare. At least do like the under the eyes, fucking moisturizer.
The Target
Gotta do
does
it.
an under eye. That's the glorious thing. It's like
Yeah.
$6. You get to roll it. It's fun. You do it in the morning. It gets rid of
is that
bags.
like a marble?
I love
Yeah,
the rolly
exactly.
ones. Yeah.
But it's like it's got goo in it, so it's not like it's just
Oh,
a
good.
rock. Like I don't anything that's just a rock that they're like roll this and it'll be good. I'm like, no, it won't. You're lying. Take your rock away.
How many things will cure your skepticism when they say, "Don't worry, it's got goo in it"?
Yeah. I was like, well, if there's goo, then we're good to go.
Yeah.
If it's goo, send it through. If it's rock, make sure you block.
That's an 80-year-old woman trying to get laid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Don't worry.
but part of it too is like
We're good.
I hit those 30s and was just like, all right, let's see if we can sort of like fix this up a little bit, because let's see if let's get the house to not burn down by 40. So like now I'm doing it feels like a house where I'm doing a bunch of remodeling, trying to fix stuff.
I feel you. I mean, I'm and people are gonna fucking hate me for saying this, but I hear that it's like this because I'm 28 and I've never felt like more old. Like I feel like close to death
For sure.
I'm like, just because like my back has never hurt more. I got like these deep
Carrying around those Pfizer tits.
Yeah.
You gotta stop jogging.
I'm carrying around the weight of knowing I have no tits. I think that's worse.
Yeah.
Just-
Phantom.
Yeah, phantom tits.
Yeah, carrying around
Also the
just
name of my Star Wars recap, where every character now just has rockin' tits. Thanks, ILM.
carrying around the emotional burden that is being flat chested. But what was I saying? That
You went to that
Your
dark
back
place. never
hurts,
came
you
out. Your
feel
back
I
hurts.
know. I always
Oh, you feel old as hell.
I always go down the spiral of having no tits. It's a real point of
Well,
fucking
the
depression.
same way This Is Rad's real thing is about getting to know each other and finding new things, this show's real game is about having no tits.
Oh, one day, probably once I'll have to have like 20 episodes first, but one day I just want a super cut of all the times I've said tits, mommy milkers, fucking.
Are you listening, listeners? Start sending in time codes.
It's already been probably like 50
Start having
times.
them send you time codes. Well, you only got 5 episodes. Like truly, start crowdsourcing now.
I'll start doing it for the first few episodes, but yeah, I talk about it a lot. I talk about it on stage. I'm pretty sure on the Eminem episode of your podcast, that's where I came up with a bit that I now do on stage because I started talking about wanting tits and wanting more than 2 tits and all that stuff.
Like Total Recall style.
Yeah.
That one's fun because that was one of my favorite types of episodes, which is the pure chaos party episode.
Yeah.
Because I think we had 8 people there.
No, that was the Green Day one.
Yeah, Green Day. That's what I'm
Eminem
thinking.
was
Eminem's
just me, you, and Keith. But I did end up just like standing up, screaming at one, but like standing up, like yelling.
Both of you got very excited.
Well, I was yelling about. I remember what I was yelling about. We can talk about this. I was yelling about how Eminem, because Eminem, talks about fucking like hitting women and strangling them and all of that kind of stuff. And I was like, you know what? Like, I feel like music is like, because people are like, oh, he sings about this and he should be canceled, whatever. But I'm like, the thing about music is I feel like it's like sex. Like, they can be a nice guy in the streets, but in your raps, I'm going to want you to fucking slap me around a little bit.
It's the Ghetto Boys. It's 2 Live Crew. It's like this whole long history of this. Like, it's, Too Short. Like, Too Short did not fuck as much as he says, but you know what? God bless him for saying it all. I will continue to hear it.
I do love that you can just kind of create whatever persona you want.
It's not unlike the hybrid of comedy and a superhero.
Right. If I was a rapper, I'd be like, big tits.
That'd be your name?
Yeah.
It's not bad.
2 tits. No, 3 tits.
3 Tits is actually a pretty good lady
3
rapper
Tits is
name.
hilarious.
Like, if I found out there's a lady rapper named 3 Tits, I am on board. Send me a track.
Yeah.
I was saying 2 tits like 2 Chainz, but then I realized 2 tits is a normal thing to have. You hear about this girl with 2 fucking tits?
You gotta add 1. Whereas like 2 Chainz understood that 1 chain, of course. 2 chains, what?
Yeah.
But you're already
That's an
operating a
excessive
pair.
amount of chains.
That is more than the average. That is a notable number of chains based on the traditional average.
Back then, nowadays, it's like you gotta have like 20 chains to have any real
Getting towards that Mr. T level.
cred. Yeah.
Love Mr. T. Been on a real Mr. T kick. Watched Rocky 3 recently, kind of out of nowhere, and just on the kick.
Clubber
now.
Lang, dude.
Got his whole thing where his entire goal in life is to have his gloves in the air screaming, "I am the champion." He has no goal beyond that. When he wins, he does that, and when you return for the next fight, he is still doing that.
Might be the cheesiest movie I ever cried to.
It's so good.
When Mickey dies, I cried.
I've said to my girlfriend before, like, you're welcome for me not being a craft beer guy. I'm sorry that I'm a guy who likes Rocky.
I've cried to
Like-
every Rocky. For real.
Well, Chris Rock ruined my life because he has the advice of before you do an album, the night before, watch Rocky and go to bed. And I have done that for all 3 records now. And all it did was then further and further put me emotionally invested in Rocky because it's based on a very important part of like what I do.
Right.
So it adds weird stakes to it. I'm like, me and Rocky are right there together.
Rocky 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't want to watch somebody tie
See, but again,
before I go.
but you're a comedian. You got to understand the best you can do is
It's
go
a
the
tie.
distance
You're right.
and get somebody to go like, hey, you also won.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
did
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Is-
it's a tie.
Apollo Creed is every headliner.
Yeah.
Is that
You just-
do you think that's like the corniest thing you've ever been inspired by?
Oh God, no.
What's the corny? Because
This
I
is
got to
a-
tell you, episode 1, Gary Peterson talked about how he was inspired by this this speech that Matthew McConaughey gave. Listen to about 1 minute of it, and it was the most terrible thing I've ever heard.
Wow. I mean, I have so many. I feel like most of my advice is hewn from places you should not take advice from.
Yeah.
Like
Well, that's what this is all
many of my
about.
life credos and things literally extend from things I was taught by the Ninja Turtles in their first feature film.
Right.
And the like. So it's a lot of advice from dumb things.
Yeah. Well, this is coming off of Brian saying that it was the worst thing, or what did you say, the corniest thing you've ever cried to?
I said it might be the worst movie I've
The
ever
worst
cried
movie
to.
I ever cried to.
Yeah.
God, even worst movie I've ever cried to. I'm trying to think because that's
Rocky 3.
Do we pull movies you watch on planes out of this situation?
No.
I don't know if I've cried on a plane.
Did you
to
cry on a
movie.
plane?
I feel like I'm always
'Cause
more
that's hilarious.
susceptible to stuff on planes.
Really? Are you more emotional on planes?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I just feel like I think because you're so trapped there, so you're feeling it
Yeah.
because you're just staring at whatever it
Yeah.
is just in front
Do
of
you do you always get a window seat so you can just like stare?
I
out
used
the
to be
window
all aisles
aimlessly?
because of giant legs.
Yeah,
but
I'm all aisle too.
Yeah.
Recently playing with window, it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, you gotta have a depression stare out the window on a plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I like being on a plane. I like airports.
Oh, I love being on a plane.
I
I miss travel so goddamn much.
Yeah. Well, traveling now fucking sucks.
I've done 2 flights, in the last year and a half, and neither of them were that bad. I guess it was more than one, but 2 trips or whatever. And so far, as far like beyond wearing a mask, I didn't really have a ton of trouble with it. Like it's one of those things where I'm like,
I'm disappointed. I've been flying a lot, and I don't get any of those rednecks who get dragged off the plane. I want to see that so bad.
Have
Those
you-
people who refuse the mask.
Have either of you ever been on a plane when somebody is like doing some sort of thing
Nothing.
you shouldn't do on a plane? I've had one, and it didn't even end with them getting thrown out. It was a red eye back from Hawaii to LA, and an adult man fully fell asleep in the aisle. And like they didn't make him move. They didn't do anything.
Wait.
I just remember sitting watching him, and all I kept thinking was like, they are tolerating the shit out of this.
Did he like pass out in the aisle?
I
Or,
never
like,
got
how did he-
closure because I was not willing to get involved.
I want to know how he got there. I want to know how
No,
many.
I watched that part. He got down and he laid down and then he went to Betty Bye.
Oh, he just. Oh, okay. He just kind of
Yeah, he
moved
didn't
out of
fall.
his seat.
Like he did this intentionally, and then it was just fine.
How many people stepped over him?
Probably every person who had to cut. So if you were going to the bathroom, if you were a stewardess, I guess the carts don't go by as often. That was the one thing that could. And I hope they would have just killed him. Like I hope it would have been like sleeping on a subway track.
Yeah.
But like, and I believe he had kids who were like sitting in the other part, and I'm just like, if my dad is sleeping in a plane aisle, I'm gonna be a nightmare for the rest of my child years.
That's why they let him do it. They were like, oh, this guy's life sucks.
I guess like they were just like, all right, sleep well, sir. When you wake up, you still have to do all this.
The
Yeah.
fact that you could put yourself in this position means my life's better than yours. So relax.
It's plain in Freud.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God, there must be so much gross shit on an airplane floor.
Yeah.
Like
What do you
was he wearing like there's fucking
I don't know.
it's an
that-
airplane floor.
I don't know if hygiene was his
Well, any
concern.
floor. Any floor. You're just fucking laying on it. Was he wearing a mask?
He was
wasn't.
not.
He wasn't wearing a mask.
This was years ago.
Oh, this was okay.
If he
this
was wearing a
wasn't
mask, it
during
would have been
COVID.
scarier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then he's like, I'm part of the solution. I'm part of a different problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I'm part of old world problems.
Yeah.
Right. So okay. So you've cried on planes 2 movies.
I'll say I'll go with just the first thing out of my mind is like cheesiest thing I've cried to, and it is the second to last episode of the Battlestar Galactica remake.
Okay.
There is a chunk where they put a line and go like, all right, everybody wants to go on the mission, just cross this line over, and they all walk over. And I had just gone through a breakup and some other stuff, and I'm just having I'm a lay in bed and watch TV thing and watching them like, they're all friends, they're all going out together. And just the idea of like friendship and commitment, and I was just sobbing like an insane person.
When you're going through a
That's
break,
real friendship, man.
when you're going through a breakup, anything can make you fucking
it's
cry.
pretty wild.
Anything. I cry to Adam Sandler's the Adam Sandler movie Big Daddy.
Big Daddy's an emotional one.
Every
That's
I wipe my own ass.
I wipe my own ass.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that part makes me
Fucking
cry too.
Tears.
my girlfriend and I just rewatched The Water Boy. That's what we ostensibly did for my birthday, was sit and watch The Water Boy.
Waterboy's great.
A masterpiece.
Great movie.
But also like pretty wild. Just the level like Kathy Bates is just, because her and I just watched Misery. So it's weird to just watch back to back, and she's great in both. And I figured out that's I think the thing I love about Adam Sandler ultimately is like everybody shows up and seems to have a great time. So it's like, I don't know how you can be mad at a guy who's just like, look, man, we're going to put together a set where everyone's having a lovely time. People seem to be trying. Like, there are things that we all respect and like that do not have that set.
He was my childhood crush.
Okay.
I had such a huge crush on Adam Sandler when I was like fucking 8. Yeah.
I didn't really know who he was until I was like a teenager. He was just, because I didn't watch Saturday Night Live ever. Like, I have so little comedy knowledge prior to like middle school.
My dad was a big Adam Sandler fan, or is a big Adam Sandler fan. So I was watching Adam Sandler movies from a very young age. And he was my childhood crush, which I think is like, it's weird that
I don't see a ton of that. I mean, I see that more in the guys you are friends with, present company included, than like your boyfriendy types.
What do you mean?
For Sandler types.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, my current boyfriend is a very
bit of a Sandler.
a very goofy Jew.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, several people have told him that he reminds them of Adam Sandler.
Score.
So I was like, that makes sense because he was my child.
Does he just wear sweatpants?
He is
baggy basketball shorts. Well,
he's basically a giant man child. I do like a very immature man.
This is a running theme I'm starting to notice with like female friends of mine who like, you see who their childhood crush was, and I've met their partners, and you definitely see some of that in there.
It makes sense.
I have a friend, I won't out her here, but who loves Elijah Wood. And when you look at her husband, he is quite Elijah Wood-like.
Yeah. Is that a bad thing to
Not
out
at
her?
all.
To out her?
All right, Jen Saunderson has a handsome husband. I don't know. I don't know if she needs everybody to know both about her handsome husband and her love of Elijah Wood.
Good for her. I mean, if I had a fuckable husband, I'd want to shout it from the
Fuckable
rooftop.
husband would be the best band name.
Yeah, I'd want to shout it from
Who's
the
your
fucking
childhood
rooftop.
crush?
The two that were God, these are both embarrassed, but it was Sandra Bullock and Jennifer Love Hewitt. Those were my two.
Yeah, Jennifer Love Hewitt was for everybody. Yeah.
I feel like Sandra
Bullock gets Love Potion #9 and The Net and Speed, like that that trifecta.
Right. Can't hardly wait for Jennifer.
Oh my God, truly.
Yeah.
Man, that movie, I haven't fully rewatched because I'm just like, I don't know how this is going to hold up. And I've got some emotions invested in this. This movie got me into The Replacements and had Jennifer Love Hewitt and Ethan Embry. And like that's,
Seth Green.
Man, just what a gift. What a gift.
I wanted to be Sandra Bullock in Miss Congeniality.
I love that movie.
I do too. And there was this scene where she comes home and she just starts like beating up on a punching bag to Salt and Pepper's Salt and Pepper.
Salt and Pepper.
I used a hard R in Salt and Pepper. Probably the 14th whitest thing I've ever done. No, Salt and Pepper's none of your business. Great song.
Salt and Pepper's none of your business.
It's none of your business. Yeah, I always dreamed of having a punching bag in my bedroom because of that
now
movie.
You got a boyfriend, so same thing.
Ayo.
I just remember I liked Miss Congeniality 1 so much that I was hyped to see the second one.
And it was
as
so
a
bad.
teenage boy. I was just fucking, MC2, let's dance.
I was so excited and it was so
Just
terrible.
really
it was
real
dog shit.
Just like and I'm mad at myself because not only have I done this, but I really let myself be vulnerable being excited about this movie. It felt like a bit of a betrayal.
Yeah, I say never get excited about a sequel.
Comedy sequel, as it turns out.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're only going to get your heart broken. You don't,
I feel like everybody has like the one comedy sequel they're an apologist for. And I only think about this because I've been on a real Ghostbusters 2 kick. Because I like Ghostbusters 2 more than the first one because it's the one I was raised watching a bunch. And it was only like 10 years ago that I learned people don't like that movie.
Right.
And I was just like, what are you talking about? It's literally, it's got Vigo in it. Get your shit together.
I just saw Ghostbusters 2 like 2 years ago. Or no, Ghostbusters 1.
Oh, okay.
And I haven't seen Ghostbusters 2.
It's great.
But
it's got the best Bobby Brown song of all time on the soundtrack, which was number 3 on my 2020 most played things on Apple.
Is that My Prerogative?
No, it's On Their Own.
On Their Own.
Which I maintain better than My Prerogative. Like, just it's got them good New Jackie drums and that good singy chorus. Mwah.
I remember being a fan of Rush Hour 2.
I
And Rush Hour 1 and every Rush Hour. How many Rush Hours are
There's
there?
3. And I'm trying to remember
Big fan of the Rush
which
Hours.
one disappointed me, 2 or 3. And now I'm just like, is this a reason to go back to the Rush Hour verse?
Rush Hour is so good. Well, actually, I don't know if it holds up. I was a big fan of it as a kid. I remember me and my brother just spent, hours
it was
quoting Chris Tucker.
for a very specific part of the 90s. You're like Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, the 2 greatest actors of our generation.
What
And that movie has been made in the 18 months where that is true. Like,
what does Chris Tucker do now?
I think he does stand up.
He's a Christian stand-up.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like a Christian guy.
Is he?
Yeah, when you're on the Epstein logs, you need the whole church behind you.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
I wish he would just do his character from Fifth Element full time.
I know. That'd be sick.
Truly. Have you ever seen him in Fifth Element?
No.
He's
Oh.
essentially a drag queen.
Yeah, it
Oh,
is
shit.
that movie rules. Worth your time.
Okay.
Every character is insane. Everything in it is insane, and yet it sort of holds together. And you just go like, I don't know how this works, but I'm having a good time.
Okay. Yeah. I realize there is a laundry list of movies that I haven't seen, and I'm chalking it up to, well, I guess I can't because I'm not that young anymore, which I will circle back to, I guess.
Was one of my COVID keep sane things. That was like this was like early
Watching new
2021.
movies.
I made a fucking list, like a programmer's list. And so every Thursday, because like going to the movies is one of my like, I hate everyone. I'm gonna go sit in a dark room and be alone for a while. So I set up my room every Thursday night at midnight, like that I'm sitting down, I am eliminating everything, and I'm gonna watch either a cult or an art house movie that I've never seen and I've meant to see. And I got about 30 watched before the plan fell apart.
Wow.
And man, I miss it because there were so many things like that where all of a sudden it was like, ha! Now I've seen fill in the blank. And there were a couple. It was half fun and half like homeworky ones, but then sometimes the homeworky ones kind of slapped.
Yeah.
Like what was the one? There was something. Oh, there was this movie Missing that I'd gotten randomly. Like somebody had sent it to me. That turns out to be maybe one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's from Costa Brava, and it's about like the Chilean Revolution. And it's this American guy goes missing, and his wife calls the guy's dad, who's like, "You guys should have been down there anyways, you goddamn hippies." And he like firsthand gets to see how fucked the situation is.
Right.
And it's just like really well done and really like smartly made and crafted and shit like that. And that's one where I never in 1,000 goddamn years would have watched that.
Yeah.
And
How nerdy did you like? Were you like pairing wines with it, like watching a Chilean
never
one?
quite. I did a couple of themes. So I did for
You're a theme guy.
for like February for Valentine's Day like month. I ended up doing a before movie every week for 3 weeks. And so I did like before sunrise, before sunset and after midnight or whatever. And that was a lot of fun, and that was, I'm a big Linklater guy and had never seen all of those. So that was,
I've never seen Slacker. Yeah. A few of his movies I've never seen.
The problem with a lot of times when I watch like a show that I never watched that I should have watched, but watch it years later, or a movie or something like that, then I start wanting to like make jokes about it or including it in my stand-up.
Oh,
and then people are like, why are you doing a joke that's like fucking 10 years dated? And I'm like,
You're
no,
talking to a guy
I
who
just
spent
watched it.
back end of last year getting way into Taxi. And if you really want people to be on board with your references, constantly reference Taxi.
I just watched Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Not that long long ago binge watched it, and I kept wanting to make like Game of Thrones references. And
My
it's
phone
like,
was on.
people were on that like fucking 3 years ago. And
Just give it a year, and then it'll be for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got to get through that awkward 5-year grace.
You got to get
period.
to the Wire side where
Yeah.
where it jumps over. Now everybody's rewatching it.
You could do a whole hour on The Sopranos, and it would be totally relevant.
Oh God, yes, that was
Yeah.
one. Like Fifi Dosh and I did like near 4 hours on The Sopranos at one point on This Is Rad, and it was one of those things where like we finished, and I was like, I could do another 4 hours of this, like, and that's when I came to when no one was talking about The Sopranos, like 2 years ago, and it was just this beautiful little like secret adventure where I'm just like, no one knows what's happening but me.
it did just kind of come out of nowhere where everyone was like on the Sopranos train.
It's well, I always think when you see something new coming attached, there is all of a sudden this kind of like zeitgeist that shows up where all of a sudden we're like, oh, we were really into this, but then you're like, oh, Many Saints of Newark was 18 months away, so somebody put into the air like, you guys want to rewatch
They
The
did that
Sopranos?
podcast.
Yeah.
Which man, what a beautiful thing.
I
Like
know.
that was it's something I gave zero fucks about, and then all of a sudden was like, oh, never mind, it's the best thing we've ever made.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I do this thing where if everyone likes something, I refuse to watch it.
Part of why we're friends.
Yeah, just
with you.
because I'm
Because
like,
we're both the room full of miserable cool guys.
Haven't seen Squid Game.
fuck that.
No,
because
never.
it makes me mad when people are like, you have to
Yeah,
watch it. I'm
then
like,
it's
I
like-
don't
I
have
was
to
like,
do
I
anything.
defy you
Fuck
now.
you.
Yeah,
You know,
no,
like,
it's 1000% that.
but
I'm
Game-
watching Waterboy.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Like I said, Taxi. The only relevant one is my girlfriend has gotten me into Cobra Kai, and it makes me
Okay.
furious because I hate that it's a good show.
I love Cobra Kai. It's the corniest.
Yeah,
It's the corn.
the reason that show works is because that show is committed to being a good show while also acknowledging at all times that The Karate Kid is a stupid movie.
Yeah, it's a very
And
self-aware.
it gives it all the freedom to go
corniness.
as anime as it wants with it.
Isn't Brent Ernst in that show?
Yes.
I think he is, because I remember
Brent Ernst?
right the comedian.
Oh, okay.
Right before I had to bring him up one time at the Improv, and he told me, he's like, "Oh, say that Cobra Kai's coming out." In my head, I was like, "Yeah, that's gonna stink." And then it became huge.
Yeah.
I was working on something where like the last interview when I was working on Nerdist, they had William Zabka come in and to get interviewed for it, and that was when it was a YouTube Red series before it came out.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it was
yeah.
like one of the last ones while I was still working there. I was like, oh God, we're having this guy for this thing. Ugh.
Yeah.
And like now I'm just like, man, I really kind of regret not being able to shake that man's hand for delivering an incredible performance. Like,
I don't know what it is about old Billy Zabka. Fucking sexy as
oh
hell.
yeah, my girlfriend constantly
Oh my God.
talking about how hot Zabka is.
So hot. Like, and I wasn't attracted to him in the karate
I got that one. I caught it.
after probably 100, but
Yeah.
You should also make a sound for horniness, just so there's constant sound effects in between
Yeah.
the likes and the horny.
And then a tit sound.
Yes.
Anytime
Yeah.
you say tits.
So it's ultimately just slowly turns into a Negative Land album where it's more sound than content.
I need sound effects in my life. I like them.
It's the one thing that I always kind of am sad but grateful This Is Rad has never embraced is the soundboard, because like once we're only not a morning zoo show because of our limitations on what side technology we have, because
Yeah.
that falls apart as soon as we get sound effects.
Yeah.
You've done the
never
smart thing
too
of
late.
taking them away from you and giving them to a
Yes.
responsible third party.
Yeah, well,
You need a good Mr. Scream standing by.
Yes.
that's true. I would be very irresponsible with the
Hit
soundboard.
those two yellow ones. This is
Wait,
Ramsey
okay.
sounds. This is Ramsey
Ooh.
Badawi's soundboard. Hit them both.
Oh, at the same time.
Hit
Do
it
it again.
Yeah,
Oh,
there we go.
That
Yeah.
was a very faint moan. Oh, it's still going?
Yes.
How do I stop it?
You just hit them again. You don't.
This is our life now.
Yeah, that's Ramsey to a T. Born in Slipknot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
One Slipknot should be his autobiography one day.
He did play.
In my mind, it's posthumously. Like, he is dead when that book comes out, and I don't know why in my brain it had to have Ramsey dead before book comes out. They're for legal reasons, I
Yeah,
assume.
for sure. It's a Mark Twain thing.
There's-
It has to
yeah.
come out 100 years later.
Is that how long it was on those extra books of his?
Yeah, his autobiography.
Oh, the autobiography.
Yeah.
I have twice now tried to make Mark Twain jokes work in stand-up. I've since become a better stand-up. But one of them was, if you ever watched that Ken Burns documentary on him, after his daughter died from freezing to death, he became like a hardcore atheist, and most of his final writings are just these screeds against God. And I just love that like his publishers are like, look, we know you're most beloved author in the world, but eat a dick, you God piece of shit. It's just not something we want to publish in 1850.
Right.
It's better than, I guess, against black people.
Fair.
Sure.
What if he also
like
was
he
like,
was
and-
doing.
Oh, so you don't think God is black?
I was about to say, and he thinks God's black. He just adds it all. Oh, it's still that too.
Yeah.
That's why he hated God. No, I mean, Mark Twain.
There's no reason for us on this show to continue a conversation.
We-
about
we-
Mark Twain.
we don't.
We're gonna bring nothing. To
You know
this.
what? Okay, I am going to ask you the question that
Please.
I ask every episode, which is, what do you think is the worst part about being alive?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
God, there's so many to choose from.
Fuck it, I know. You know what's funny is I posed this question too, and I'm going to use it for something eventually, but I posed this question to my Instagram audience and got so many different answers that I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that does fucking suck. And it just like gave me more reasons to hate life.
My first answer is so unacceptable that I'm trying to think of a second answer.
Well, okay, while you think
'Cause
your second answer, tell me
First
what your
answer
unacceptable
is the worst
is.
thing about life is that I do not have godlike powers to do whatever I need to do to get done.
Okay.
It's when you've got too many projects sitting on your phone as a little list of to-dos.
Right.
That's when your brain goes like, the worst part is like, these aren't done yet.
Well, life is just fucking constant maintenance, and there's always stuff to fucking. How do people keep a place clean?
Oh, so that's something I am good at though. Like
I
I need a clean space.
I can't.
I was
Are
the
you just
best roommate
are you
in
just
college.
constantly cleaning?
Yes.
Like it's a constant thing.
100%.
I
It's
feel
an
like
endless waltz.
if it's not a constant thing, then it's gonna be just
Or
not gonna happen.
The other system I'll often use for some things is there is a bar you set, and when it
Right.
surpasses that, you got to reset it to 0.
Right.
And that's a lot of what I do is
Yeah.
like it gets to a level of messy where I'm like, I will either burn this house down or I will go and clean this for 10 minutes.
The problem is if I clean, like I'm a slob, but if I clean, like once I clean, I'm like, no one touch anything, you know,
you
because
gotta
I
keep
don't want to have
living
to.
life.
I don't want to have to do this again. So
That's a super reasonable way to carry it. Too.
so when I like no one even like I'm just gonna be out of the house now for a month. I don't want anyone fucking touching. But
Like
so
here, like give me a, I make my bed fully every day.
and never I get and then I so I can't do it because if I do it then I become like this fucking naggy like. I don't want to be like that like stereotypical like, oh, my girlfriend's nagging me to like but like
See, I'll just
I'm
usurp
like,
girlfriend and be like, now I am the nag.
I just fucking clean that up and you just fucking threw your shirt on the fucking floor. What are you doing?
Well,
You know?
they're
That's
an
my
animal.
relationship. I'm the clean one, and
Yeah.
but my girlfriend works way harder than me, so I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
We got real similar lifestyles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or as I call it, living the dream.
But with making the bed, I get mad when even if I make the bed, like make it really well, like hotel style, where you like tuck in the
I mean,
sides and all that kind of
I'm
stuff.
not trying to fucking impress anybody.
45-degree creases.
Yeah, the hotel corners and shit.
Yeah.
Like the minute like he will undo it, even if it's to sleep, I'm angry. Like, how dare you fucking sleep
for me,
in
the
the
fun
bed I just
is
made?
healthy.
Now,
this
there was a
morning.
period of time when I was in high school where I had that same mindset, so I just had a blanket and slept over my made bed for a
Yes!
year. I believe it's my sophomore year of high school. I did that, and it was just, I don't know why. I don't know what the goal was, but for a sustained year.
I used to do that too. I did not want to make my bed every morning, so I just slept on top of my made bed.
Yeah.
I did that as
It
well.
was my childhood bed by the time I was in like 7th grade. I was too big for it too because I was slept on a twin and I was like 6'1" by then. You know, I'm 6'6" now and have been that since like high school. And so my ankles and beyond like were over the edge of my bed for most of my youth. So I'd be on the covers with shitty things dangling over. Like I'm sleeping like a weird cartoon bum.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just constant and basically like not even just cleaning, but with your mental health, with your physical health. If like, I feel like if you just like stop for a second,
Oh, for sure.
it all goes to hell.
But like,
And it's annoying.
on the other hand, like, at least for me, like making a lot of those changes the last couple of years to try to just live healthier and more organized and stuff like that, there is the goal
Mhm.
is that you maintain that stuff enough to notice that your life sucks a little bit less. And so now you have to end up doing the math between like effort versus shitty.
Right.
And so like if you want to be lazier, that's fine, but at the same time you just got to remember that shit's gonna, hamper slightly versus like it's a pain in the ass to do a thing, but like your overall quality of life is a little better. And I bounce back and forth. We're still coming off of the holidays where I sort of went the other direction for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm having to get back on the horse and stuff.
Right.
It's sure I've been eating a lot of cookies and really have to remember that apples exist.
Good. I mean, good for you. Cookies fucking slap.
They're the fucking jam. I make them during Christmas, so I was my own drug dealer.
I've been doing a thing, which is really embarrassing to admit, but for the past month, I've probably had cookies for breakfast every morning.
Just get Cookie Crisps.
Yeah.
It's cookies for breakfast. Do those even exist anymore?
Oh, they absolutely do.
Yeah, they have to.
The cereal world is still alive and well, friend. That's my go-to now.
Soon they're gonna be like cigarettes. You're gonna have to get somebody to unlock them.
Oh God, everything good, just back there.
Yeah,
because that became one of my like snacky treat things. Is like I'll just have a bowl of cereal, and that's kind of similar. And like eventually you accept that lie.
Yeah. Cookie Crisp and Cocoa Puffs.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch for me. Cinnamon Toast Crunch or get out.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is so
Banana Nut Crunch.
Yeah, anything in the Crunch family, I am all about because they've got the Dulce de Leche ones going right now. They did what was the Churro Crunch, which was
that sounds great.
Churro Crunch was great because when you got a tiny bit of sog, it got that churro spongy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then you have like horchata in your bowl.
Were you a Fruit Loops person?
Never.
No.
Oh my God.
Fruity cereal is bullshit.
No, I love Fruit Loops. No, it's not fruity like fruit.
Well, yeah.
It's like sugary fruit. I'm not eating a bowl of strawberries.
That's true.
But no, it's Fruit Loops was my fucking jam.
I think it's because artificial orange and lemon really don't ever do it for me. So I'm already eating at half bowl interest levels.
I didn't know that they actually each color had a different flavor.
I mean, look, I said I don't like them. I didn't say I've eaten a lot of them.
I do think that cereal can not cure depression, but here's the thing, and I've talked about this.
Have you tried continuing to eat more of it then?
I
think the answer is a lot.
I've talked about this, but I do think that going back to the things that made you happy as a child is like a very good
good but dangerous.
A good thing to pick you up out of I mean, not as dangerous as it is to do the things that make you happy as an adult.
Fair. That is absolutely correct.
Drinking, cocaine, and sex. I mean, sex is cool, but but going back to like doing the things that made you happy as a child, I've discovered it can really get you out of a slump.
What was one of yours?
Well, I found this out because I am
I started humping pillows.
I did discover porn so early, like way too early, because
discover.
Yeah,
like your Ponce de Leon. Porn de
You
Leon.
put a little flag.
Yeah.
I stumbled upon it as I was because I think this is the problem is I had a TV in my room way too young, and I was just flipping through the channels late at night when I wasn't supposed to be awake, and for some reason we had the dirty channels.
You had the Spice Channel on your childhood television.
Yeah, and I remember
the coolest kid I've ever met.
I remember the exact thing because it was called Bikini Chain Gang, and I was like, oh, cool, it's going to be about, like, women in prison. Like, I thought it was going to be, like, I really liked, my favorite movie at that time was The Spice Girls. I liked just gangs of women, you know?
So Spice World's a great movie.
Yeah. So
Meatloaf's best role.
That was one of the movies that made me happy as a child. I should go back and
watch the
Spice
crazy
World.
Trivia about that. I imagine everybody knows this, that movie had fully restructured plot because it originally involved Gary Glitter. Was like the main character.
Well, they sing a Gary Glitter song in it. Do you want to touch
I had
me?
like no idea, and then like years later, I was like, oh, that's why Spice World is like a surreal David Lynch film.
Yeah. Do you know about Gary Glitter?
No.
So he's one of the most raging pedophiles.
Yeah.
Oh,
and he was
like
a glam rock star.
He wrote na na hey na na na. He's that guy.
Yeah.
I have a long Gary Glitter bit that I still do to this day. Yeah.
You know what? I was thinking that the name sounded familiar, and I think that's why.
Yeah.
I think it's
probably.
because I've heard you talk about Gary Glitter.
Yeah.
Banned from Thailand. That's part of the premise.
Yeah. Well, is
It's crazy. How crazy is that?
God damn. That is it's impressive.
Yeah, it's wild.
That takes
was it
effort.
was he interested in girls or
boys.
or-
Boys.
Yeah.
Okay.
They always are.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm kidding.
I
don't put me on record
Oh.
as being
Look.
serious like that.
It's always scary when somebody
Brian
guesses
Vokey said
like
that
a
all
dark
pet-
joke.
Brian Vokey said all pedophiles are gay, and off mic he said all gays are pedophiles.
Ugh. Times where you wish a camera hadn't reacted to you falling over laughing. Just my tie.
Well, because I thought with a name like Gary Glitter that he'd be going after, because I feel like that's a name that you have when you want to attract little girls. You know,
Gary Glitter.
Yeah.
Do you think he was torn about it?
You're
do you
like
think there were other things
glitter,
he went
you know,
with?
like
As a former preschool teacher, glitter works on all children.
True.
They love it. They go nuts for it.
Oh,
Not
yeah?
works like I gotta get out of here.
all children love glitter because it is shiny,
Yes.
destructive, and they see fear in adults' eyes. When they do it. So you worked as a preschool teacher.
Yes,
Okay. I was an on and off sub and teacher and after school aide. Middle school was my specialty.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Love them.
I couldn't handle
The
it.
Just fucking assholes, and I love
the
it.
fact
Yeah.
that both of you were trusted in a
Our
classroom.
level of
is-
maternal instincts outweighs you by a lot.
This is the problem with the school system in
What are you
general.
talking about?
I was a great
The
teacher.
same. I
I'm
was.
sure you
it was
were.
real. Like that's the problem. Is most good teachers are lost to stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Because it's that they are ostensibly the only two things that
Right.
require that specific skill set.
Yes, 100%.
That's true. Yeah, I remember I had a teacher at my middle school that did stand-up comedy, but I don't know if he still does it.
Was it John Fox?
No, he was bald. I don't even remember his name, but he was like every kid's
It
favorite
was
teacher.
Joe Coy.
No. He was
Did
every
we just pitch a shitty '90s comedy? It's just
100%.
Joe Coy as a substitute teacher.
God, I did discover porn through Bikini Chain Gang. Yeah.
Okay.
And I discovered masturbation even earlier than that. I discovered masturbation when I was like in fucking second grade, which I've been told
Jesus.
is way too early.
Are you still fascinated with the idea of women in prison movies? Because like we should watch The Big Dollhouse sometime. That'd
I
be
mean,
super fun.
I wouldn't be opposed to
Or
it.
Caged Heat. Have ourselves a time.
Yeah. I mean, do they fuck
Yes.
in it? Okay, cool. Yeah.
How do you
I'm
feel about
in.
the concept of Pam Grier's tits?
Who's Pam Grier?
Well, you're gonna find out, and you're gonna be really excited. You now know.
What other stuff is she in?
Jackie Brown.
No.
Ghost, Ghosts of Mars.
No. Jackie Brown, that's the Quentin Tarantino.
She plays
song.
Jackie Brown.
She is Jackie Brown.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
In the 70s, she was like a black exploitation queen, and she's just stunningly beautiful and like just beats up a lot of white guys and stuff like that, and it's the best.
Okay, so how do I feel about her tits now or in the 70s?
At all times, be pro.
Okay.
Just as a rule of thumb, always pro.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm
We should
down.
do that.
I'm down
That'd
for
be
that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. But so I don't know why we got into discovering porn as a child. Right. Oh, because you asked what made me discover that childhood things make me come out of depression. And it's that Pokemon.
Or what? Oh yeah. Well, what were the things? Yeah.
Pokemon. The Switch. The Nintendo Switch.
You live in that Switch life?
Yeah.
Up top. My brother just got one after hearing me for 4 years talk about it's the best thing in the world.
It's great. I wasn't a huge video game person. I was when I was a kid. I used to play really just for the Pokemon games. I played them on the Game Boy and then Mario 64. But yeah, when they came out with that on the Switch, I got it, played it for like a week. It made me so fucking happy because I'm a millennial and we grew up with that shit. It was so good.
I've like tried to I was never hardcore into it because I'm like right at I think the age edge for the far side of it, but like have overall positive but not strong. It's sort of more than Harry Potter, less than I don't know Ghostbusters or some bullshit.
Yeah.
And I tried playing. I bought one of them for the 3DS a few years ago, and a few months ago I was trying to replay through that. And I think it's like I have too many questions I think to live in the Pokemon world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's really fun. I used to like shoot
Are you
myself.
fire type, water type, grass type?
I mean, fire type always, but
Nice.
I used to shoot myself in the foot a little because I only wanted the cute Pokemon.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't
So
about
a
being
Gengar
strong.
can just fuck right off.
Yeah, yeah. I only wanted the fuckable Pokemon. So, do you think that is there Pokemon porn?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh fuck, I gotta look
I mean,
that
it's
up.
the age-old thing: is if you can think of it, it's made.
Yeah.
That's what you know.
And if it's from
Any
a
porn you
video,
can think of, it's been made.
And if it's from a video game, you can see some part of its butthole on the internet.
Hell yeah. All right, well, I'll look that up. But I do think, yeah, like Pokemon, I just go back to Pokemon and masturbating to Adam Sandler because those were the things that
Sort of. Sounds like a fun weekend to me.
brought me joy as a child.
I started drawing. That became my obsession during COVID. I ostensibly, once I was no longer working and shit, I ostensibly took myself to art school for 2 years. And so that's just been, it was just like, wake up, do whatever work stuff you got to do to keep that freelance life alive, and then just fucking drawing and learning perspective and figure and all that stuff. And that was kind of the one good thing that came out of all of it. But that and I guess as an extension, like Tales from an Analog Future and making the comic book, but that all kind of came together.
Yeah, I always forget that you can draw, and then you'll sometimes
Just started,
randomly
though, so
send
it's-
me.
Oh yeah.
No, you drew me like when we
Oh,
first
yeah.
met.
That was a part of the whole project I want to bring back at some point, where like I was taking, it was mostly friends, but I did a couple other ones too, where I would do digital pen and ink copies of comedians and fun photos, and then because I'm a big Raymond Pettibone fan, I would
Sure.
do quotes like a Pettibone piece. So I don't think yours ever got the quote on it, because you just ended up looking pretty. So I sent it to you because it was like a little, because I did one for Keith that's like him with like the fun sunglasses smoking a cigarette, and I put a whole piece on it. I have that one of Tom that I really like. I
Yeah.
did like French Mid. I did who the fuck else? I did a couple of them. I want to do a full series of them sometime. Get like you and a bunch of other
Yeah,
people,
it'd
and
be
just
fun.
and especially like not giving anybody what the quote is. It's nothing you said. It's just the vibe I got doing it.
Yeah.
Was sort
Yeah.
of what a bunch of them were. Like the Tom one's just him smoking a cigarette, and it's like he said it was his last one, but even he knew it was a lie.
I do realize that because I've had people draw me a few times, and not to brag, but I always do look prettier in drawings because I look prettier when you don't put the details of my face on. When it's just like an outline of me, it's a lot prettier, I feel like. Yeah. But
Or you could just be pretty. Like that could also just be the case.
yeah, I guess. We've already touched on my low self-esteem in this podcast. It's, maybe if I had some big old honkers, I wouldn't feel that way. So what, now that we've, the godlike powers, that's unacceptable that you
And again,
want
it's
godlike powers.
and I
but
think I only have it right now just because I'm trying to get so many projects done.
yeah.
And get a job and get all these other things that I'm just like, I wish I could have the powers to just solve all these right now.
Oh my God, you had a glow up over COVID, and now you're bragging
Well-
about all the projects you
Well,
have.
I mean, yes, ostensibly that is what I'm doing. I was gonna talk down like, no, she's right. But
I'm not doing
Well,
fucking shit.
Not being able to do stand up, I really figured out how much of the value about being alive I have that was built into stand up, healthy or not.
Yeah,
And especially 2019, just doing a fuckload of it.
Yeah.
And like
Resonating.
I had wrapped Absolute Terror, and in less than a year and a half already had a new 30 for another. And I was just like, this is gonna be the fastest I've turned around a goddamn record ever. Like that's, and then just all of a sudden it's just was frozen. I mean, I did Zoom stuff and I've gone back and done some stuff, but it's not the same. I feel like everybody's kind of got that where it's like we're doing all the mechanics, and sometimes you get a good one that feels like stand up. But even like probably the two best shows I've had in this run, both were just because they felt like regular stand up.
Yes.
It's not like they were some barn burner crazy evening or something like that.
yeah.
And so I just had to start picking shit up because I just can't.
I did a show a couple months ago that Rory Scovel was on, and he put it best where he's like, I'm going to keep doing this, but just know my heart's not in it.
Yes. I wrote a new chunk because I couldn't do the old chunks anymore.
yeah.
Like, it was just like, this is another human wrote these for people inside of improvs, and
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is not where this goes. And so just wrote a new 30 before a Matt Cole show because I was just like, I cannot keep saying the same 15-minute chunk again.
I do think that whether you're a stand-up or any other line of work. I think over the pandemic, a lot of people who probably had their identity wrapped up in their work.
I fell back in love with writing. Like, that was a big thing. My girlfriend got a typewriter, which is the fucking greatest thing in the world. So I just started, because at a certain point I was like, I could write a script. What am I going to do? Sell my big old pilot to some fucking channel? Like, I just went to prose because it was like, oh shit, like I can, when I write this, it's done and it just exists.
Yeah.
And like kind of became a maniac with that. And that was pre-stand-up, was like my big love, was like writing short stories and fiction and stuff like that. And so that was a lot of fun to come back into.
Yeah. All right. Well, what do you think? Okay, so I do want to. I want to try.
I love this. We're gal palin.
I want
Let's do
to.
this.
No, I want to try this thing. It's a little bit of an exercise. If it turns out that it sucks, we'll cut it out. But I want to try this thing where I want to take one of the things that the people said the people said were one of the worst parts about being alive.
Okay.
And you tell me why it's fine.
Oh, hells yeah.
So all right, I'm gonna pick one. It's the one of the ones was just okay. One of them was Existential Dread.
Okay.
So having Existential Dread.
My
why
favorite
is it?
reggae band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that an actual band?
No.
Oh, it sounds like a band.
No, just a dread pun.
I mean, Existential Dread has fueled virtually all of the great art across human history.
Oh, that's
From
true.
the Bible to the Satanic Bible.
Well, the Bible was created off of Existential Dread.
Yeah. Where do you think God, trying to figure out what God's up to, comes from?
I don't know. I thought God wrote the Bible. I don't know.
Well, maybe God was also feeling, he was like, who am I? Even he has to find himself, or she.
Oh, that's true. Do you think God has
Alanis
existential
Morissette,
crises?
Absolutely.
He's like, do I even exist? Is this all a simulation?
Look, even God gets high on DMT and then has some new thoughts about life.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Because I think like literally almost every of my favorite books are all written out of existential crisis. Like Slaughterhouse-Five is built out of existential crises. The Fall is a book about like existential crises.
I mean, I do admire people who, out of an existential crisis, can create art. I just
Nicole, that's your entire art.
Spiral, cry, and sleep for weeks at a time. That is I mean, I do. And most of my jokes are about depression, existential crises, and boobs.
Yeah. I always feel like if you've got stuff like that, again, it's because it worked for me. So it's one of those, like, I only have the solution because it's the one I had. But, like, when you got those feelings, like, you know, turn them into something.
Right.
That's what, you gain a lot more control. Now, this is also coming from somebody who's now properly medicated. So now you really get a lot of control.
What about
over
someone in
how you feel?
What about someone in a cubicle who's having an existential crisis,
Yeah,
which is probably every day?
You got a pen and a pad or a fucking second window of Microsoft Word open, putting your shit down. Like,
everyone can do art. You know,
I'm a big believer in like art by any means. Like anything's a good place to start, and whatever you got's a good place to start it with.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, did the guy who created The Office? He probably worked in an office at one point. I don't
Ricky
know.
Gervais? Yeah, for sure he did. That's 100% true.
Oh right, it was a UK thing.
Yeah, no, that character is based off a real boss of his when he
Oh,
worked
really?
in an office. Yeah,
Hilarious. Oh my god, that would have been so fun. I've never had a
wacky boss.
I've never had a wacky sitcom boss. No.
I've had some wacky bosses in the past, and they are less fun than you think they're going to be.
I did have one who put his hand on my ass, which I feel like it was pretty wacky. It was at Disneyland. Might want to, I don't know, maybe we'll bleep that out, but it was at Disneyland.
Was he wearing a big white glove?
They did not take care of that stuff. There were a lot of complaints. They never took care of it. Maybe it's different now. That was like 10 years ago.
I got 9
years ago. But yeah.
I'm unemployed. I'm disparaging no media conglomerates at the moment.
Yeah. Well, now I'm old.
Thought that would get a laugh. I always think the word conglomerate is funnier than it actually is.
Conglomerate's a great word.
It sounds silly and made up, and it'll be the death of us all. Like, it's a fun thing.
I used to laugh at the word cordial all the time, and I don't know why.
It's those good consonant sounds.
Yeah.
Cordial.
That's also a drink too, right?
It's a candy. Well, yeah, I guess it is because it's the boozy cordial.
Yeah, the boozy cordial. Yeah.
Okay. So. Boozy cordial. I mean, it sounds like a.
Hey, that's my wife's name. You better watch it.
It sounds like a sex move or something.
I had some and it was gone. Once my brain abandoned thought to try to figure out what a sexy cordial would be. and then I came back to it's like, unimportant. Do we have the answer?
It's the green M&M.
Yeah.
That's the sexy cordial.
Oh my God. What did happen with that? I heard something about it.
Away or something.
Did she have
She
tits
never
for a
had
minute?
tits.
I don't know.
I think they just changed her shoes.
Yeah, they changed her shoes.
Like, they
now
changed
Tucker
it-
Carlson doesn't want to fuck her.
They changed it from high heels to sneakers, which as a slut in sneakers,
Yeah, not a game changer.
it's not. It's really not. I never. You know what? The good sluts wear sneakers because sneakers are like the ones that aren't afraid
You
to get.
can run to sex faster.
You and you're not afraid to get down and dirty.
It's true.
If you're wearing sneakers, heels are more posh.
Yeah.
Right.
Where I feel like the real freaks wear sneakers.
I don't disagree. I think you're onto something here.
Yeah.
They're not showy. They don't need you. It's like anybody who's good at their job. Like they don't need to show you how good at their job that is, because then when they get up to do their job, they make everybody else look bad.
The green M&M in sneakers does anal.
Yes.
The green M&M in sneakers, chokes on the dick, deep throats.
Mm-hmm.
That other chick, she just kind of like,
Yellow?
lays back.
Is it the brown? Is the other one?
I can't remember.
I don't even remember what the colors of M&Ms are anymore.
Yeah.
Like they're not Skittles, and so I didn't have to keep track.
I didn't even know they did those commercials anymore.
I only know because the movie theaters they always have the like this is an envelope thing.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It's just a thing that plays.
All right, cool.
It's an M&M. Silencing your cell phone.
Okay, so it's fine. Existential dread is fine, even if you work in a fucking office.
It's a tool to channel your energy into. It's your body telling you that it wants to express that stuff out.
Kyle says just write some shit,
That's
To
my
me, it's a
answer.
lot more psychotic to be like, yeah, this all makes sense.
Yeah.
It really is.
If you're not full of dread, like you either know something we don't or don't know what we know.
Well, this is why I'm on a quest to become a dumb bitch.
You can't do that.
No, I've talked about it on this podcast. I want to just be a dumb, hot
Yeah.
bitch, and just gonna like.
You have you're too wise to ever be a dumb bitch. Like you know too much.
My friend. All my friends have said this on the podcast, and it's gonna make people think that I'm smart. I'm not that smart. I did go to UCLA, but
It would be funny because it's like the idea of trying to refine. It's like no. She is smarter than she says, but she is also as slutty as she says. So I can understand why it's confusing. Like,
I think the smartest people downplay being smart.
oh yeah, smarties be fucking.
Yeah, I've been like writing for a lot of TikTokers and YouTubers and shit. I hate to admit that, but what I found in dealing with these people is like their personas are not what they are. They're a lot smarter because they're smart. They created that brand. Of
That's
being,
what I did
like,
for a few years with my comedy staff. Like,
Yeah?
was play dumber. Like, I used to call it hipster Homer Simpson.
Oh,
And for maybe
okay.
the first 4 years, I was doing a lot of, like, hipster Homer Simpson, and then kind of, like, dumped that to go the more kind of articulate, little
Yeah.
smarter thing. But it was, like, that's why I had to do the sweaters for so long, because I had to, like, redress myself to get away with being smarter, because they're like, nah, you still look like a piece of shit. Talk about fucking whatever some more.
Well, being dumb is funny
Yeah.
in a way. Like, I think in high school, that was kind of the bit that I had, which people didn't know it was a bit, but
Well, and
I definitely
dumb-
pretended
well,
to be a lot dumber
There's
than I was.
no group of people who love writing dumb stuff more than smart people. I mean, you look at like The Simpsons, where it's like the smartest writers in the world, and Homer Simpson is the ultimate tool for them to write through.
Yeah. Well, and what I love about shows like that is you can tell that it was a bunch of smart people in a room who just wrote stuff that made them laugh, and then everyone else enjoyed it. I love Bojack Horseman, and the one of the characters was just 3 kids in a trench coat. Kills me every time.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that one of the characters was just dating 3 kids in a trench coat.
I love a 3 kids in a trench coat. Like,
You love 3 kids in a
I
trench
just think
coat?
it's always funny. It's never not funny.
No, it is, and
Because just a big old coat that's moving wrong, and they've always got the hat on it.
yeah.
Was that All Dogs Go to Heaven? I think is the first time I ever saw
They
that.
have the deep grown up voice, like, yeah, what are you talking about?
I
I'm
would
a
like
grown
to
up.
see this R-rated movie.
Yeah.
Plan to enjoy Lethal Weapon 3.
I wonder if any kids have
Blonde
actually.
Joe Pesci.
You think any kids?
Hell yeah.
You think any kids have actually tried that from seeing a 3 kids in a trench coat?
I want to know
bit?
where they got a trench coat. That's to
Where
me
they got
the most difficult part of the whole
Well,
process.
I think it's from
At a
back in the day
store?
when
it's the
that's-
1930s.
Yeah, that's the way people dressed.
Oh, I mean, I see trench coats everywhere.
It used to rain.
Yeah.
I love trench coats. That's the only.
It's dumb and true, and that makes it worse.
I love a trench coat, and this is like it's why I wish I lived in somewhere with actual seasons.
Nah.
I like wearing stuff that
Look,
hides me.
we're both native Californians.
We are.
We always think that's what we want, and then we go to a place with weather, and we're like, "Fuck this every day! Every day you do this. It's snowy every single day."
I will.
Because here it rains, and then in the middle it's 75, and then it
Yeah.
goes back to raining, and I'm like, "Thanks for giving us a day so we could kind of get ourselves back together."
I will say I feel like the past couple months it like rained a lot
Yeah.
more than it usually does
love
in
it.
LA, and
Please.
I got so depressed.
I
I got
love it. It's
I-
like a
I
sunny day
enjoy
to
it.
me.
Yeah.
I used to love it.
I want the opposite of whatever we've been having a lot of at a given time.
I think maybe because I'm on antidepressants now.
I mean,
That
hey,
I'm,
man,
like,
I'm on
normal.
several, and so
Because I used to be like, I hated sunny days because I felt like the sun was mocking me. Like I was like,
we're on different pills.
I was like, I'm sad. Like why is the sun out?
The pressure
Like,
to have the best day of your life. Oh,
Yeah.
God, every day.
You just,
You're
like,
supposed to
hear-
rollerblade out of your house.
yeah, you hear people outside just like in the pool, running in the sprinklers, having a great time.
Legitimate question based on that, though. I have found, especially after the last 2 years of being trapped indoors, that I have that with streaming shit, where you always feel like I gotta watch the best thing. Like, what's the optimum thing? And so instead, I
Yes.
just either watch nothing or TV commercials on YouTube.
Or something you've seen 1,000
Yeah.
times. Yeah. I look for like the best thing, and then it's Eastbound and Down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yes, I'm doing Letterkenny again.
Yeah.
I've only watched the first episode of that show, but I've watched the first episode of that show like 50 times.
And it's weird, too, because it gets way better immediately.
I've
And
heard
that
it
one's
gets
good,
better.
but, like, number 2, I feel like is really where the show is a show now.
Yeah, well, the reason I've watched, and I do this
because I keep showing it to you.
I know I do this with a lot of shows, is that I try to watch it and then I forget to keep going on it, and then
Okay.
and then I'm like, and then so a year later I'm like, I gotta fucking start over.
Yep.
Because so there's like several shows where I've seen the first 4 episodes like a million times.
Yeah.
The Sopranos was one of those shows because I kept like meaning to watch
I was
it,
worried
and
it was
then
going to be that way, and then just made the whole marathon run. I think they go this way, and then I'll stop twitching at my fucking head for the rest of the episode. There we go.
The first episode of The Sopranos is it was shot like years before.
And
His
it's
voice is
so
different.
fucking strong.
Yeah, it's so good, but it's like very different from any other episode.
Yeah. The one that I always notice is AJ is so different in
Yeah,
it because he's such a little kid in the first
Yes.
episode. It has led to my brother and I's favorite quote of all time, which is "Why no fucking ZD?"
yeah,
Just
yeah.
said once a day in our household.
yeah. But I do want to.
I get that way with like books or like big, assignment things I'm gonna go do. I'm like, I'm gonna reread all of these, and I read like half of one. I'm like, well, that was a pretty good run.
Well, but then do you go and then
Oh God, no.
you don't go back and reread what you already read to try and
used
read
to,
it again?
and I've actually stopped doing that because I find that I don't get a ton out of the redoing it. It's actually I started doing this because of art lessons. I had a couple of books where I would try to start at the top of the thing and work way through because they were like a couple week-long courses that you sort of self-did. And I kept restarting it, but then stopping at the same part. And at some point, I was like, what if I just picked up here and kept going? And that made a huge difference. And it's not like I didn't know what was happening in that first chunk. And if there was something that seemed confusing, I'd just go back later and check it out. But that was a big thing.
Yeah, I don't read anymore because fuck words.
Yeah.
I did actually. I realized that I would get so fucking like I would read for like 5 minutes and everything would get blurry, and I thought that was
Do you
part.
have a tumor?
I thought I thought that was part of like my ADD. I thought I was just like, because I feel like a lot of times when I start like dozing off, like people's voices kind of get like wah, 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 I thought it was
I think you're just really bored.
yeah, I think that's the same with words. I was like, oh, I get, and then I realized over the pandemic that I had an astigmatism, and then I was
Oh.
always just straining my eyes, and so then it was hurting my eyes, and then
Hey.
it was whatever. But
Is it fixed now?
It is.
Well, now you can read.
Yeah, now I can read, but I don't.
Yeah.
But it happened because I would always cover this part of my when I had a headache and I didn't know why.
You always had that reading eye patch that I questioned.
Yeah. I would cover my left eye.
Did we both stop because we both thought you looked kind of cute with an eye patch? So we both got distracted?
I was
Like,
picturing
that'd be a
myself
good
with an
look
eye
for
cut.
her.
Maybe I should do that instead of glasses
Get
because
a
I
heart
don't wear
one
my
like
glasses.
the girl from Venture Brothers.
Yeah, but I did always cover my left eye when I got a headache, and my mom would just make fun of me for it. She never like when I was a kid, she'd never like actually take me to a doctor to figure out why I did it. She would just be like, "Why the fuck do you do that? Like, it looks weird. Stop doing that."
She's
But I'd be like, I have a headache. And then when I got into my current relationship, he was like, "Why do you do that?" I was like, "I don't know, because I have a headache." And he was like, "Do me a favor, cover the other eye and read this." And I was like, "Oh, I can't." And he was like, "Yeah, I think you need glasses." It was me straining that eye and it would give me headaches. So. Interesting story, right?
I like it.
Yeah.
I was just full of information, and so I was just listening.
I know stuff about stuff.
You do.
Mostly about myself, but that's about it.
But what an endless thing to study.
You know what I think? I think that's the problem. I think that's why I don't know stuff about stuff, because I think I become uninterested in a conversation the minute it's not about me. The minute it's not about me and like my fucking problems, like I just like everything I tune out. Which I need to get better at, especially if I'm going to have a podcast.
See, and I think mine is always like, hey, if anybody wants to keep me distracted from the constant monologue in here and the nightmare factory that is, please come along.
No, I'm going to try. I'm going to work on it. I did go through a phase, which should be a forever phase, where I stopped trying to just use the word I so much. Like, I was like, if I'm using the word I this much, then I'm just talking about myself. And I'm not listening to people and whatever. So I'm getting better at it. And maybe I should just listen to people because then I'll know stuff.
It's a helpful skill.
Yeah.
Listening is a useful thing.
Because you guys have talked about a lot of things and I just like completely went...
It's weird too, because at one point we had a long talk about how we could solve all your problems, right?
Yeah,
and then we looked over, and you were just sort of looking down in the middle distance.
You're like, I have a headache.
Yeah, you will notice points in the podcast where there was a long conversation between them, and I just went, yeah. So anyway,
So back to my tits.
I do need to get better about that. This podcast is gonna fucking improve my life. I'm gonna stop saying like so much, even though Brian only caught it once this episode.
It's almost as if he doesn't have the energy to listen to every word you say ready and push a button. It's almost as if that's an impossible task for a regular person to do.
Look, Brian, I'm fucking paying you nothing. I'm paying you.
The standard podcaster's fee.
No, I'm paying you very little, but
the other standard podcaster's fee.
I expect you to hang on my every word. No, Brian, you're great. Kyle, you're also great.
Woo.
Do you have anything that you want to plug? Even though we talked about your podcast a lot, so we'll plug that.
Yeah. So This Is Rad is my main podcast. It's my love. I do it with my life mate Matthew Burnside. People come on and they talk about things that they like, and that turns into 3 hours of conversation. It goes all over the place. We had somebody come on and talk about tiling because they enjoy doing tiling and tile work. We also just had one about porno comics. We've done microdosing. We've done, pop punk bands and Eminem. We're literally kind of all over the place. We did one episode many years ago about the writings of Ted Kaczynski.
Oh, I could talk about that.
Girl, go listen to our episode. It's us and Jason Van Glass, and it is incredible. Because he pitched it, and he's maybe the one human being where I'd be like, okay, I trust that you will not fuck this up. You are a smart and articulate person. And it's one of the best episodes we've ever done.
I always wanted to write a sitcom about the prison that he's locked up in. It's 80X in Florence, Colorado.
Oh, that would be.
It's the Supermax. It's like it's the most hilarious cast of people. It would be the best sitcom. It's so like good. The Unabomber. It's like
it's a real
the original World Trade Center bombers.
Yeah,
the
94
ones.
boys.
94, yeah. And then like a couple other great serial killers and cuckoo bananas people, drug lords.
Yeah.
I think El Chapo's there right now.
Is Timothy McVeigh's dead, right?
He's dead.
He was held there.
But I think Nichols.
Okay, yeah,
he might be there. Yeah, it just sounds like a great show.
I'd watch the shit out of that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love. It's so rare when I hear a premise where like I feel like such an asshole when I articulate. I'd actually watch that.
Yeah.
You hear so many pitches where you're just like, oh, that you got a lot of good structure going there. And
Yeah.
It sounds like you're working hard, and then your mind like, I want that to be canceled now, and it hasn't been made yet.
Dude,
And,
I've been reading about the Unabomber since I was a child,
Yeah.
and like I was like a big fan of his work. And as a
What's your favorite thing about what the Unabomber did?
well, it was just like as a kid growing up and like kind of being a part of like
was our
environmental
Zodiac.
terrorists. Yeah, he's like an eco-anarchist, and we were a child. When I was a kid, people were.
So he had like reasons to do
Oh,
it.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
See,
yeah.
I know
Like,
nothing about any.
He
of it.
wrote a
predicted
lot.
what technology was going to do to
Yeah,
us.
It's upsetting how on point he is, just a kind of across the way, except for the sending nail bombs to colleges. That's
Yeah,
the one thing that was a problem.
The bombing is not
Bad.
my favorite part of the
Not a
Unabomber.
great call. It's-
But the-
that's when the album falls apart.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like I was such a
later
fan.
career.
And then this documentary came out a couple years ago about him, where they had a prison interview with him, and it was the first time I heard his voice, and it broke my heart because he was like, "Hi,
Oh,
I'm
sad?
Ted Kaczynski."
Okay, my real question: what did you want him to sound like? Because I know in my heart what he sounds like.
I wanted him to sound a little Hannibal Lecter-y.
Oh, see, I wanted him to sound like George Lucas for some reason.
He's closer in real life to George
Yeah, I
Lucas.
just feel like the way that farm equipment is kind of being phased out in version of computers, and like just
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
I want. But instead, he's just like a fun, smart hillbilly.
Yeah. Hey, how are ya? It's the worst accent I've ever heard, or tone. or
This is
whatever.
why you don't meet your heroes.
I know.
I'll throw just a handful of quick other things. I've got an album called Absolute Terror that is out on iTunes and Spotify and all that kind of shit. It's
Yeah.
off of my record label Radland Records that it was even putting records out during COVID. So fuck you, industry.
Hell yeah.
Never mind. Please help me.
Just, JK, love you.
Buy my label. You could own Carter Glasscock. And so I have that, and then I have a second podcast called Everything is Scary that is a horror podcast they do with Jen Saunderson and Amy Drole. If you want to hear a couple gal pals talk about wildly the spectrum of horror movies.
Amazing. We got Everything Hurts and Everything is Scary.
Right? We
Wow.
should do a crossover.
Everything
Hurt
sucks.
is scary.
Everything, yeah.
Hurt is scary, and we do a William Hurt horror film.
Yeah, yeah.
And you'll be on it as part of the bit.
Okay, I'm down. I have to. I'll go figure out what a William Hurt horror film is, and then I'll
I have
get
to too.
back
I
to you.
think we'd be doing Altered States.
Okay.
Brian can come.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I mean, I'd like to shout out my friendship with Nicole Buchanan, who
Aw.
makes me really happy that I'm sitting with because I've missed your stupid face for so long.
That's so sweet. Plugging our friendship.
Yeah. Shout out to friendship.
Check out mine and Kyle's friendship.
Yeah.
Only on Hulu. No, we'd be on something shittier.
I
We'd
like
be
the
on
idea of us
Quibi.
on-
It got canceled.
See, I like the idea that we were on FX, so we're just jumped to Hulu.
Yeah. Yeah, and follow him on social
At
media.
Kyle Clark is Rad on Twitter and Instagram. I don't post a ton on Twitter, so I'm an easy follow. I just have it to respond from doing podcasts.
We'll link
And
all that stuff.
Instagram, I started posting my artwork stuff, and so you can check out some of that stuff. If you want to see a space wizard, or I think I drew my pills, did a watercolor of my pills sitting on a coaster. So
Yeah.
check that out.
There's one last thing that I want to end on,
Ooh.
which is because this episode is going to be released February 9th. So
Future.
it's almost Valentine's Day.
It is.
Do you have any advice for people who are single and ugly?
Oh, hells yes.
Yeah.
Turn it into a party holiday. Especially if you got a couple other friends who are like single and also like not stoked on this holiday, get a fucking bunch of beer and like a John Wick movie and some pizza, and just go like, well, other people are having to dress up and go to fancy restaurants. You guys just fucking throw down and have a great
Honestly,
time on a Monday.
Valentine's Day fucking sucks. Like, yeah, I
Do you
agree.
do
Make it a party.
Do you have to do coupley stuff? I've gotten very
No.
lucky that the last several like relationships I've been in have not been Valentine's Day heavy things.
I prefer to not.
Yeah.
You know, I prefer to not
Like,
because
I'll buy a flower.
the
I enjoy
restaurants
buying
make
flowers
things
and
more
stuff.
expensive.
Yeah.
Like it's just all fucking stupid. So if you're feeling lonely or
Yeah.
sad that you
Get Thai
gonna
food with
val-
a homie and watch fucking Armageddon.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
do
sick.
some with your time where it's like don't watch a love movie, don't respond to, just have a do what you do on a Saturday night, but do it on Valentine's. Be hungover the day after Valentine's Day at work.
and know you're cooler than everyone else.
Yeah. Like when they're all like either like, I had the perfunctory perfunctory sex, or they're I had a bad time, and you can just be like, man, I just was fucking honking all night, but I just don't want to miss a thing playing in the background.
A yeast infection from my edible panties or whatever the fuck's going on.
All right. Well, there it is. Thanks for listening, guys. Yeah, thank you.
Everything hurts. Everything hurts. Fucking life sucks. Everything hurts.